All right. Where's the? Hold on. Sorry. What did I do with? Did I leave it in the bedroom? Yes. Sorry, I watched this in the bedroom because I was cleaning up bedroom. I'm gonna rearrange tomorrow. So, well, by the time this is you see this, I've already rearranged. But we're looking at Psycho 3. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. If I'm being honest, these 3 films that I've watched so far in this Psycho franchise, solid films. The first one, of course, is a classic. It's fantastic. The second one was pretty good, and this one was also pretty good. Although I was confused at first when I put it in, push play. We start with nuns, and I was like, did I put in the wrong movie? What is? And there's this nun named Maureen who accidentally kills another nun, and I'm like, what does this have to do with Norman Bates? And then it cuts. It says Anthony Perkins in Psycho 3. And I'm like, okay, so this is Psycho 3. What's going on? Well, the story here is that it's a little while after the events of the second film, and Emma Spool is still missing, and Norman is now managing the hotel. Once again, going on with his life, but he has now reverted back to the way he was in the first film, tending to Mother. And, well, he has a run-in with a man named Duke and a woman, the aforementioned nun named Maureen, that may just change his life. Not for the better. So, yes. And it's kind of weird because the first part of this film, we actually follow Maureen as she makes her way to where she's gonna go. She's we see the accidental killing of the nun. She says that God does not exist, and then they call her a blasphemer, and she leaves the convent, and then she meets up with Dwayne. Friends call him Duke. And, he forces himself on her, and she doesn't want that, but, he's that kind of person. I'll never condone it, but it's a movie, so I just gotta tell myself it's a movie, it's not real. Just moving on. I didn't see the part anyway because I was busy cleaning out my closet. But, yeah, I heard it, and that was enough. But, yeah, so she finds her way to the Bates Motel. But first, Duke gets there first. And he wants a job. Even though, just like before, 12 cabins, 12 vacancies. Let me go ahead and point this out now. There's a lot of callbacks to the original. Mother is in the room. You can see her from the window. He's talking to Mother again. You hear Mother's voice. That he says a few lines from the movie, like 12 cabins, 12 vacancies. He even says their line, we all go a little mad sometimes. And it ends with him smiling. So there's even a kill that is reminiscent of Arbogast's death, falling down the stairs, although it's done way worse here. How can a kill that was originally done in 1960 look worse in 1986? 26 years later, and it looks worse. But I noticed the callbacks to the first one. Okay, I see what he's doing. If you didn't know, Anthony Perkins actually directs this film. And I don't think this is that bad. I think he's actually pretty good. when it comes to this. I'm kind of tossed up on which I liked more, 2 or 3. Because I was iffy on the twist from 2, but the twist is retconned in this. But it still begs the question, why even do the twist in the second one? Are you going to retcon it here? I don't know. But like I said, the cops are after trying to find what happened to Emma Spool. And there's this reporter lady now showing up. Looking for... She wants the scoop on Norman. She thinks he's killing again. She's right, but... You know, and we see Maureen come in. She's got a suitcase that says MC on it. And Duke puts her in cabin 1, which, of course, freaks him out, right? Because that's Marion's cabin. There's even a scene that's another callback. He looks through the peephole. We get a little more... Okay, so this is a mixed aspect. It's not a complete negative. But the nudity in this... I'm someone who is fine with nudity. I like nudity in movies, you know, in horror films in general. But in a franchise like this, where it's always been kind of tasteful, and the first one where, you know, because this one where he's peeping on her, you know, there's just a quick shot. You don't see tits. You just this quick shot goes back to Norman going. Because it's more about his reaction than us seeing it. So, like, she turns around and it cuts to Norman going, like, it's the first time he's seen tits ever. Which is possible because, well, he stabbed Marion. But if Mother was in control, he probably wasn't conscious to see it. But it could be, very well, it'd be his... Because I think in the first one, he only saw her in her underwear, right? Before she went in the bathroom, I think. But that kind of thing has always been done tasteful. And when I saw this, man, okay, this is tasteful. You don't outright see it. Then later, Duke has a woman, who's Robin from Friday the 13th, Part 7, by the way. And she was in, I think, Summer Party Massacre 2, I think. But there's a scene which, you know, the scene is lit very well. You have Dwayne... You have Duke, they're like butt-ass naked, and he's got the lamp positioned in his crotch and the other one there, and the light's coming out of it. It's very well done. And you got her with a cigarette in her hand dancing around, and it's like one tit sticking out, and like, I'm like, okay. But then there's other instances, like, she's out there, like, he kicks her out after they have sex because she wants more, and he just wanted a quickie, you know? And she's out there naked. Like he kicks her out naked, and she's running around. And like, she said, "I want my clothes," and throws clothes out. I'm like, okay, fine. She puts her shirt on, and I'm sitting there going, "Is that shirt on right?" She realizes it's on wrong. She takes it off again. And it's like, okay, there's more tits. I just feel like maybe the nudity wasn't necessary, to be honest. I'm never against nudity in a film, far from it. But in a franchise like this where everything's been tasteful, the first 2 films didn't have really any nudity. There was some with Marion, but it was very obscure. You didn't see anything. You know? Nothing. And here, this shows you that you're in that era of slasher films. Oh, it's 1986, we gotta have nudity in our film, right? It felt like it was almost an obligation. Like, Perkins thought he had to do it. Like, oh, this is a horror movie in the 80s. Let's show some skin. But honestly, if they hadn't had any in it, I think I would have been fine. I don't think I would have been like, oh, you know, no. I don't think it was necessary, but it's there. It's a little iffy, but, you know. Yeah. And so this woman, this was her name, Tracy, is trying to prove that Norman is killing again. Another thing I like is that we actually see, like, we see the hotel working. Like, we see stuff going on at the hotel. We see people checking into cabins. There's this football game that's apparently happened, and there's people partying in celebration of the football game. And it's really cool to see people actually in the hotel and moving around and stuff. And that's when we get, you knew that at least one of them wasn't going to survive. And there's a woman. There's another scene I'm going to criticize here because it doesn't make any fucking sense unless it's in Norman's head what happens here. But the sheriff comes in the next day with the woman, with that Tracy or whatever her name is. I don't remember her name is. She talks to Maureen and tells her what happened with Norman about his past and whatever. And the sheriff comes in, which is the same guy from the last one. Norman has hidden the woman that Mother murdered the night before in the ice thing. So they're standing there, they're sitting there, the sheriff's talking, because they checked the house, and Mother is missing. That's a very important plot point, is when they go in the house, he doesn't want them in the house, and he runs up to Mother's room, and she's gone. So they're outside talking and stuff, and then the sheriff just starts scooping the ice, putting it in his mouth from the thing. And it's like, okay, he's just scooping ice. But then he scoops some bloody ice and puts it in his mouth, spits it out, and I was like, did he not taste that? I'm like, that's what leads me to believe it was in Norman's head, that he didn't actually, scoop up bloody ice. But if it was real, I'm very confused on why he didn't taste the blood. I don't know. It's very weird. But yeah, we're going to find out that Duke took Mother's body, and it's in cabin 12, his room, I guess. And he's going to extort Norman for money. And Norman's like, I don't have that kind of money. He goes, oh, come on, man. You can sell some acres of land. You can make a lot of money. And he's like, I just want my mother back. Take her, but you know what I want. And he's always concerned about his guitar. And one thing that confused me is I actually started laughing. Like, Norman takes an ashtray, throws it at his head. It's one of those ceramic glass ones. Throws it at Duke, hits him, and he goes, oh, I'm going to fucking kill you. And I'm like, well, if you kill him, you won't get your money. So that's not a very good idea. But he goes after him to kill him. I'm like, what? How are you going to make your money if you kill him? That. And Norman would have an out. Go ahead. Kill Norman. He'll die, but he'll die innocent. Because the cops are going to show up and they're going to think Duke here did all the murders. Of course, Mother's body, or Emma's body, Mrs. Spool's body, might be a little but I don't know, maybe not, but I said it could be his out. No, he apparently kills him, and so he's going to, much like before, bury their bodies in the swamp, which I'm like, Norman, come on. You can't keep doing the old shtick. If, especially that woman's after you, she's going to tell him to drag the swamp again, and you're screwed when they find the body. So why do you keep trying to have him in the swamp? But this time, he goes in with a car because Duke wakes up, and Duke ends up drowning, but he's able to get out. Let me get to the one thing about this film that I really did not like, besides the twist that just kind of makes the ending of the last film unnecessary, but Maureen. They built her up so much for this storyline. Like, she had a crisis of faith, and then she saw Norman, or Norma, Mrs. Mother, was trying to kill her, but she had already slit her wrist, so Norman snapped back in, and saved her. and she thought it was the Virgin Mary holding a silver crucifix. And so we built this, and it's like, okay, obviously it's leaning towards something. I thought it was going to lead to her rediscovering her faith at the end. I know Norman wasn't going to die, because there's a fourth one, which is a prequel, but I know it's about him calling into a radio station, and the picture has the, older looking Anthony Perkins, and he's in the movie. So it says the thing, Anthony Perkins in Cycle 4 at the beginning. So I knew there's a wraparound story in that one. So I knew he doesn't die. Although you could have, in hindsight, you could have set this before the events of Psycho 3. Like, he's calling in, like, he just snapped back with the mother and he's calling. But with the, I don't know. I don't know what all entails. I just know he's calling a radio station. But, yeah, so I thought it was leading to her rediscovering her faith and, learning a lesson. And I kind of figured Norman was going to end up going back to the nut house by the end of this. I didn't think he was going to be able to, although there's a fourth one, so let's get back out. Maybe they explain it, I don't know. But, I don't know. But no, they have this love thing between them. Mother comes back, but she shows up after he's like come up to, clean up after being in the swamp, and then like she's like, confess her love, and then Mother speaks up. He's like, Mother, and she falls, and they do a very terrible reshot of when Arbogast dies, and it looks terrible. Like I said, 20 years, and it looks worse than it did in 1960. They tried to recreate the shot, and I don't think that Anthony Perkins could. Yeah, but she ends up dying, and we have the blood that, this was one of those times. Sometimes, 8 movies in the 80s, sometimes blood was give or take when it comes to the pigmentation. This was too red, but she dies, and then that Tracy lady comes in, or whatever her name is, and she has been investigating Emma Spool, and she's found out that Emma Spool was also in a nut house, and this is where we get the retcon, that Emma Spool is not Norman's real mother, but Norman's aunt, who went nuts and killed Norman's father because she was in love with Norman's father, and she killed Norman's father and kidnapped Norman because she believed that was the child she was supposed to have with Norman's father. But the police caught her, returned Norman to his mother, and she went in a nut house. So she was never his real mother. It was all in her head. She was crazier than he was, apparently. I don't know how I feel about that. It almost feels like Anthony Perkins put that in. Did he write anything? Production design, producer, directed by, written by Charles Edward Poe. Maybe it's almost as if he didn't like that change and asked them to retcon it for some reason. I don't know. It feels forced to me. Like, you had that twist, and it's like, oh, okay, it's a decent twist. I didn't particularly care for it, and it's like maybe I wasn't the only one. Maybe he didn't care for it, and so we're just gonna retcon that. But it feels forced. It feels like someone said, "Oh, I didn't like that twist. Let's change it." But it just, I don't know. I mean, you get the sense she was in the nut house before, but it made sense being that she was his mother, but now she's not. And instead of killing the Trace lady, he dismembers Emma Spool's corpse, which is not really Mother's corpse. Mother's corpse is long gone by now. And he gets taken away. And he goes, well, you won't get away from this now, Norman. The sheriff does. You'll get locked up. You'll never be let out now. And then he says, but I'll be free. I'll be free. Because now he's free of Mother and everything he thinks he believes. He's gone nuts. He's gone psycho, if you will. But yeah, and then it ends on the shot of him smiling, and that also is like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, trying to recreate the first one. That's my problem, is that there's too many shots trying to recreate the original, and they're not done as well. This one, it doesn't, like, the callbacks I did like were the lines. Oh, we all go a little mad sometimes. That one I liked. And what was the other line I said? I don't remember, but I did like the callbacks, the lines. That's it. But really, I like this movie. I wouldn't mind watching it again, but I don't know. But I said Psycho 2 was pretty good. I'm going to say Psycho 3 is middle of the road for me. I'm going to say it's middle of the road because I liked some aspects of it. I liked Duke. Anthony Perkins was still good, albeit not as good as he was in the other ones. Maybe it's because he was doing both directing and acting, and maybe took a toll on him. But his direction was really good, so that was good. But I don't know. I felt like he was trying to call back to the original too much, trying to put that nostalgia in, and it just, I don't know. It just didn't work, I guess. But yeah, middle of the road. So, what are your thoughts on Psycho 3? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.